today I'm here with one of my clients. I'm at WorkPro with Lynn Campbell, who's the marketing manager, and we're going to have a chat about the work that we did over the years. So, hi Lynn.
Hello.
So could you just explain a bit about what WorkPro is and what it does for its customers?
Okay, yeah, WorkPro is handy case management software. So it's used. Well, it's two main applications for WorkPro. It's used to manage complaints, and it's used in HR casework. So to manage things like grievances and disciplinaries and sort of. So it's really useful for trickier cases that need managed according to a process. So what WorkPro does is it's workflow-based software. So it uses workflow to guide staff along the process and help them to keep to a process. And while they're doing that, it helps them to record everything, to log any documentation, correspondence, everything kept in one place, so that they can easily find out what stage is this case at. WorkPro kind of manages the whole thing, really, from the point where somebody has a complaint all the way to doing something about it, putting it right. It helps organisations to put things right.
So can you just describe the issues that you were facing and why you were looking for someone in the first place?
I think I'm struggling with workload. So because I'm a part-time marketing manager here, and at that stage it was just me. But we're a growing company. Just trying to keep up with the amount of marketing that I needed to do and wanted to do, I was finding difficult. I'd found it difficult to recruit somebody at that stage to come and work with me. It wasn't just workload I was struggling with. I also felt there was things I wanted to do, but I didn't feel I had the skill sets to do. So, for example, I wanted to do email marketing better. I wanted to be better at that. And I felt that I was working, ironically, from spreadsheets myself at the time. I didn't have a CRM set up, so I wanted to set up a CRM, get the email marketing working better. I wanted to increase my confidence because I wasn't really sure about how to do certain things that I wanted to do. There was things I wanted to do, I knew there were good things to do, I just didn't know how to go about them.
Yeah. And
I wanted somebody with experience to come and help me to do them better. Social media marketing was a big one as well for me. I wasn't very confident in social media marketing. I knew what I wanted to do, I just didn't know how to go about it, and so I wanted somebody with experience. So those were two things I wanted to get set up better, and I think that's why I initially contacted you, was to help with those things. I've been looking at various people's websites, but the thing that attracted me on your website was I thought you were very good at selling yourself, which I think is, like, if you can't market yourself, then you're not going to be good at marketing me or my company. And I was really struck by some of the videos that you'd done where you'd been interviewing some marketing experts, and I just thought, gosh, that's what a good idea. And so I think, and also it gave me a chance to see what you were like, because your personality comes across in those videos. So I just thought, God, that's really good. So got in touch, and then just that I think you quickly grasped what I was looking for and seemed to know your stuff. So I think what we did initially was a 3-month contract, which I thought that's a pretty easy way to check somebody out, really, because it's low risk. So if it hadn't worked out, it was only 3 months.
Yeah.
As it happens, we worked together for
quite a bit longer than that,
an awful lot longer than that, because we extended that contract. I wanted help to improve our content, the sort of stuff that we were putting out. You did blog work for me, but it was, and that was helpful. But then I think we were working together on business development, because it was just all about how do we reach people. So we were doing, one of the things I found most valuable was our session, because we were working remotely because of it being the pandemic. But then we met up every now and again when we were allowed to, for coffee, and I found those sessions really helpful because we just brainstormed what can we do next, and I found that brainstorming, okay, what's next, really helpful. Right, let's do this, let's do that, and and then tapping into your experience of what you've done with other companies.
Yes.
Because having that external perspective on messaging, on well, actually, you know, this has worked at another client. This would, you know, how about trying that? And so we did some business development work, LinkedIn ads, things like that, things that I hadn't really thought of doing, that you'd tried elsewhere, and so we tried here. So I found that really valuable. So then we sort of moved into a kind of, we'd brainstorm a plan for the month, and then you would help me execute that plan.
Yeah.
And we did that for quite some time. I had you looking at my email marketing, and you helped me set up a CRM system, helped me choose a CRM system.
Yes,
because that's actually not that easy. Gosh, there's so many out there, and I think you did a lot of, you know, you spent time working out what I needed.
Yes, I wanted to make sure that you had something that you would grow with you as well, but
That's
something that would do more than just be a CRM, but could do your marketing automation.
Yeah.
All that email stuff that we're talking about could all be in one place.
Because I also wanted something that could track the sales pipeline.
Yes.
So you did have quite a long list of, I want this, 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 and this. It wasn't just a CRM actually, because I wanted more than a CRM. I wanted the email marketing, but also the sales, the ability to track the sales pipeline. So you did research into that, and then you actually did the work, set it up, which is the other thing I really liked. Was it wasn't just, this is what I think you should do. You actually then did it for me. So that was really good, because there was some automations and stuff I wouldn't have had a clue how to set up.
We worked together to get you on Active Campaign, and then as a result, it seemed like you then had the confidence to go the whole hog and go to HubSpot.
Yeah, well, yes, which I wouldn't have done before. But yes, because what we found was, well, there were other things that we wanted to do beyond what Active Campaign was capable of doing.
Yeah.
Other reasons, sort of organisational process reasons why HubSpot was going to help. We wanted to change our website, if you remember as well.
Yes.
So we were you'd help me identify that our current content marketing system, the current CMS, just wasn't working for us. It was really difficult. You were finding it difficult to use.
Yes, it wasn't really delivering the value that it should.
Because you're very experienced with lots of CMS systems, so you were helping me to realise actually there is a better way to do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this hard. And so then we started to look at, well, how do we move the website onto an easier to use CMS? And then as part of that process, identified HubSpot as a suitable CMS, but actually it could also be the CRM.
It could do all the stuff that...
It could do everything that Active Campaign was doing, so we moved it across. And I've been really pleased with the result. It is a lot easier now. But of course it was quite a project to move it across.
Of course, yes. But
worth
it.
Yeah, no, that was worth it, definitely worth it. But again, you know, you did help us with that as well. You helped us identify the requirements for the new website and for the new piece of software. So that was good. And having the confidence to say, actually, you know, you can move. It's okay. You can do this. You can make this change. And it gave me insight into what it's like to buy a big piece of software. I honestly learned so much from that process. In terms of what it must be like for our own customers moving to us. It's been really helpful.
Actually, it was quite interesting that you learned from, because your software as a service, you learned from buying software as a service yourself. And then we put that into play when we looked at the customer journey. You had that extra insight.
It was really helpful, actually. I know, it was really good having gone through that process of onboarding with a cloud software product myself, and then the highs and lows of that.
Yes. So you had better understanding the emotional journey.
Yeah,
because sometimes in B2B it's quite difficult to understand. Obviously, you're still dealing with humans with emotions, and sometimes it's difficult for clients to see that the emotional journey is just as important as the sort of facts and figures. So it's interesting doing that customer journey once you've been through that process yourself.
Yeah, I found that really helpful, and I really enjoyed that actually. It was really fun mapping that out. It's been good because you've got an external viewpoint, so you're not too caught up in the minutiae of what we're doing, which is good. But you know us well enough that you understand. Yeah. And you were translating it for me. During that workshop, you were translating some of the customer journey stuff away from our WorkPro speak into
Yes.
customer speak, so that was helpful.
Yes, speaking the customer's language
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah. Well, I think having an external perspective is good.
I think that's a good piece of learning for
It's a good
anyone
piece of
actually.
teaching,
If you're buying something, if you're in B2B and you're buying something, think about what you're going through as part of that process. Because, and note that emotions do play a part in that.
Going through that emotional journey was one of the most useful things we've done. That's fed into messaging that we're using now. Because when we implemented HubSpot, we had to also think about our process and how we're going to do things, how we're going to take somebody through a sales journey with us. And then understanding the emotional journey as part of that helped us to do that.
And realise which pieces of communication is missing.
Yeah, that's it. Like, think about the content and what we need at each stage. I mean, we're still working through that because that's a process. We've got a plan and we're creating content each month to try and address different parts of that emotional journey. That we'll be doing that for a long time yet. And we decided we wanted to invest as a company in a marketing assistant for me, that I needed a bigger team. And so once my marketing assistant came on, what I really needed from you was the strategic work. Still that brainstorming.
We have been doing the strategy work. We had put a strategy and marketing plan together.
That's right, you'd put a plan for me. But once I had a marketing assistant to do the sort of more day-to-day type stuff, then we moved into a phase of it's more mentoring and strategy.
I wanted sort of taking that strategy a bit further.
That sounding board strategy thing was what I wanted from you, and so we moved into that kind of phase. And like I say, taking the strategy further.
As a result of working with Labrakeets Marketing, have you what's changed in the business?
Well, I feel more in control, but I also feel more like I've got a better plan. I feel like I'm not just firefighting. I feel like I know what I'm trying to achieve. And I think the other thing that's changed for me is not being scared to outsource, because I used to think I had to do it all myself. I think I had to learn to trust that actually somebody can come in from externally. They don't need to know everything about us, but they can still do what needs to be done. In fact, probably better, because they're not getting caught up in the jargon and stuff like that. So I think I feel more in control, but also more able to let go where I need to let go, or bring in help where I need to bring in help. In terms of the company's marketing, I think we're just more professional now.
It's very easy to end up firefighting constantly in marketing, but actually taking that step back and taking a little bit of time to work through that, I think that leads to not doing things you don't need to as much as doing things that you do need to.
Yeah, you need to have the confidence, don't you, to park some things and to while you're tackling other stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I think I used to feel like I was a bit in headless chicken mode, because I was trying to do so much, and it was just me. But I don't feel like I'm in headless chicken mode anymore.
That is fantastic to hear.
Is that good?
And you're not alone. There are plenty. Lots of marketing managers out there feel exactly the same, because it is when you're so close to it as well. And you feel like you need to do everything, and then choosing which things to, and you can't do everything. You can't.
I was thinking, what changes have you seen with us since you worked with us?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think huge changes. It's been lovely to see, actually. Even things like this.
I know, isn't that
actually
smart? Samantha's suggestion.
And you've been doing events. But you've been able to do that and look like a much bigger company than you are.
Yeah.
Which is good, which is right, because you have a product or products that are just as good as your large competitors, but you need to look as slick as those big competitors. I've seen, huge. Obviously, the website is a good example. The processes, bringing in marketing automation. I've seen you personally grow in confidence as well.
I do. I would say I do feel more confident now, but I'm confident because I've got people who, because I don't have to do it all myself. Do you see
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, but it's the confidence to know that you.
I'm confident because I know
Do
that
it.
I've got people I can ask,
Yeah, and you feel confident to do
rather
that.
than being confident in my own skills set. Do you see what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, and confident that everything is going to plan. You've got a plan, and you
Mm-hmm.
feel more secure, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the fact that you were, I was so delighted when I heard you'd made the decision to go the whole hog to HubSpot, because I think it felt like you're a little bit nervous going into Active Campaign,
Mm-hmm.
starting the marketing automation journey, but then going to HubSpot, I thought, wow.
Well, I think, and at the time, I think we didn't. Yeah, because HubSpot's a much bigger investment than
Yes.
Active Campaign.
Yes.
So we always needed to take that baby step first,
Yeah.
because I would have probably worried about making that massive investment when
Yeah.
I needed the experience with Active Campaign
Yeah.
before I could make the big investment.
And obviously the other big change is you then were able to find someone as a marketing assistant, because you got all that plan in place. You didn't need someone with my level of experience doing the day-to-day work anymore.
Yeah, but I also, having worked with you, made me, I think the first time round when I recruited a marketing assistant, I'm not sure I was as clear as what I wanted. And then do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a bit harder actually than to recruit the right person if you don't know what you want.
Yes.
But then I was more clear because I knew I just had a better plan. So
Yeah, and you found a fabulous
yes,
marketing assistant.
and it was great.
Yeah.
Really good. Being able to bring you in for things where, because now you know us, so like I brought you in because I wanted you to have an external view on something else that we were doing recently, so around branding, and that was helpful because you just know us, so you know.
Yes.
It was quick to get your input. It was useful.
Would you recommend Labrakita marketing to other companies?
Oh yes, of course I would. Absolutely, highly recommended.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
happy, and happy to speak to anybody who would like to know more about my experience working with you. But I would 100% recommend you. Yeah,
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.